The old asylum stood atop Shadow Hill, a monument to misery. Its crumbling walls and broken windows told stories of a time long past, a time when the building was alive with the sounds of the suffering and the insane. Now, it was a silent sentinel, watching over the town below, a constant reminder of the darkness that once resided within its walls. Visible for miles, a specter against the stormy sky. The clouds seemed to gather around it, as if drawn to its malevolent presence. Lightning would occasionally illuminate its silhouette, casting eerie shadows that danced across the landscape. It was as if the very weather conspired to keep the asylum shrouded in mystery and fear. They say, never go up there. The path leading to the asylum was overgrown and treacherous, with signs warning of danger and forbidding entry. Yet these warnings only seemed to add to the allure, drawing the curious and the brave to its gates. Stories of those who ventured up the hill and never returned were common, adding to the legend of the haunted asylum. Locals whisper of things that watch from the shattered windows. They speak of shadows that move on their own, of eyes that seem to follow you as you pass by. Some say they have heard faint cries and whispers emanating from within, even though the building has been abandoned for decades. The fear is palpable, a living thing that grips the heart and refuses to let go. I had to see for myself. The stories, the warnings, the fear, they all called to me, compelling me to uncover the truth. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and my resolve, I made my way up the hill, each step bringing me closer to the unknown. The air grew colder and the sense of dread intensified with every passing moment. As I climbed the overgrown path, the air grew cold. The trees seemed to close in around me, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to snatch me away. The ground was uneven, and I stumbled more than once, catching myself just in time. The mist that clung to the ground swirled around my feet, adding to the eerie atmosphere. The wind carried whispers, or maybe it was just the rustling leaves. It was hard to tell. Every sound seemed amplified, every rustle and creak a potential harbinger of doom. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, the adrenaline coursing through my veins. Was it just my imagination, or was there something more sinister at play? The building loomed, a gothic nightmare of crumbling stone. Its architecture was both beautiful and terrifying, a testament to a bygone era. Gargoyles perched on the corners, their stone faces twisted in eternal grimaces. The once grand entrance was now a gaping maw, inviting yet foreboding. It was a place that seemed to exist outside of time, a relic of a darker past. I felt a chill, not from the wind but from something unseen. It was as if the very air around me was charged with a malevolent energy, a presence that watched and waited. I could feel it in my bones, a deep, unsettling sensation that made me want to turn back. But I pressed on, driven by a need to uncover the truth. The iron gates groaned open. A warning? The sound echoed through the stillness, a harsh, grating noise that set my teeth on edge. It felt like the asylum was welcoming me or perhaps warning me to stay away. Either way, there was no turning back now. I stepped through the gates, my heart pounding in my chest. Inside, silence. A heavy, oppressive silence. The kind that presses down on you, making it hard to breathe. The hallways were empty, the rooms abandoned, yet it felt like I was not alone. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant drip of water seemed to echo with the memories of those who had once walked these halls. Dust caked everything, thick and gray like ash. It covered the furniture, the floors, the walls, a testament to the years of neglect. Each step I took stirred up clouds of it, making me cough and my eyes water. It was like walking through a tomb, a place where time had stood still. The air was thick with the smell of decay and something else, something faintly metallic. I stepped inside. The scent was overpowering, a mix of mold, rot, and something I couldn't quite place. It was a smell that spoke of death and abandonment, of lives lost and forgotten. As I moved deeper into the asylum, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that something was lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Cranbrook Mental Hospital, opened 1888, closed 1957. This institution, once a beacon of hope for those suffering from mental illness, quickly became a place of nightmares. Its grand opening was celebrated with much fanfare, promising revolutionary treatments and compassionate care. But behind its imposing walls, a different story unfolded. A place to house the unwanted, the disturbed. Stories leaked out, cruelty, experiments, things best left unspoken. Patients were subjected to inhumane treatments, often in the name of science. Electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and other brutal procedures were commonplace. The hallways echoed with the cries of those who suffered within. The staff vanished one night. Without warning, the doctors, nurses, and orderlies disappeared, leaving the patients to fend for themselves. The reasons for their sudden departure remain a mystery to this day. Some say they were driven mad by the very environment they helped create. Patients left to fend for themselves. Chaos ensued as the abandoned patients roamed the halls, searching for food, water, and a way out. Many succumbed to starvation and disease, their bodies left to rot in the very rooms meant to heal them. No explanation was ever given. The authorities sealed the building, and it was left to decay. Rumors of hauntings and ghostly apparitions began to circulate, adding to the hospital's dark legacy. Paranormal investigators and thrill seekers have since tried to uncover the truth, but the secrets of Cranbrook remain elusive. The silence in the main hall was deafening. Once bustling with activity, it now stood as a silent witness to the horrors that transpired. The air was thick with an oppressive stillness, as if the building itself mourned the lives lost within its walls. A faint humming came from somewhere in the depths of the building. It was an eerie sound, like the whisper of forgotten souls. The basement, with its maze of pipes and shadowy corners, held an unsettling presence. It was as if the very walls were alive, watching, waiting. Wires sparked from a broken panel on the wall, showering sparks onto the floor. The electrical system, long neglected, seemed to have a life of its own. Each spark illuminated the darkness for a brief moment, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. Each footstep echoed, the only sound besides the beating of my own heart. The floor was covered in a thick layer of dust, undisturbed for decades. Every step felt like an intrusion, as if I was walking on sacred ground. The echoes seemed to follow me, growing louder with each passing moment. Records lay scattered on the floor, yellowed and brittle. I picked one up. The pages crumbled at my touch, revealing the names and stories of those who once called this place home. Each record was a testament to the suffering endured, a silent cry for justice. A young woman, driven mad by grief. Her story was one of many, a tragic tale of loss and despair. She had been committed after the death of her child, unable to cope with the overwhelming sorrow. The hospital, instead of offering solace, only deepened her anguish. Her vacant eyes stared back at me from a faded photograph. The pain and torment she endured were etched into her features, a haunting reminder of the hospital's dark past. It was as if she was reaching out from beyond the grave, begging for her story to be told. Was she one of the souls trapped here? The question lingered in the air, unanswered. The hospital's legacy of madness continued to cast a long shadow, its secrets buried deep within its crumbling walls. As I left, I couldn't shake the feeling that the spirits of Cranbrook were still watching, waiting for someone to finally uncover the truth. Locals tell of music at night, haunting melodies drifting down from the asylum. Piano, they say. But the asylum has been silent for decades. No instrument could have survived this long. I walked down a hallway, each room the same. A bed, a chair, a barred window. Some still had remnants of their former occupants. A book, a comb, a child's doll lying on the floor. The air grew colder, and then I heard it. Faint at first, then growing louder. Music, a piano. Melancholy, beautiful, heartbreaking. I followed the sound, each note pulling me deeper into the asylum's dark heart. Section 4. Whispers from Cell Block D. Cell Block D, reserved for the most dangerous patients. The air here was thick with a palpable sense of dread. Scratches marked the walls, some fresh. Had someone or something been trapped here recently? I heard a whisper. My name. I froze, heart pounding. The whisper came again, closer this time, filled with an unimaginable sadness. I backed away, my foot catching on something on the floor. A book lay open, its pages filled with frantic scribblings. I recognized the language. Latin, prayers, protection spells, and then, at the bottom of the page, a name. The name I had heard whispered. Section 5. The Doctor's Shadow. They say the asylum's doctor still walks the halls. A tall, gaunt figure with cruel eyes and a scalpel always at hand. Some say he never left. Not in life, anyway. As I climbed the stairs to the doctor's office, the smell of decay intensified. The door creaked open as if inviting me in. The office was preserved in time. Charts lay open on the desk, a half-written note on a notepad. And then I saw it. A shadow, cast on the wall by the moonlight filtering through the window. The shadow of a tall man holding something long and sharp in his hand. I didn't wait to see more. Section 6, a final glimpse. I ran, my heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing in the hollow corridors of the asylum. The walls seemed to close in on me, the shadows stretching and twisting as if they were alive. I could feel the cold, damp air clinging to my skin, making every breath a struggle. The floorboards creaked under my feet, each step a reminder of the fragile ground I was treading on. I had to keep moving, had to escape the suffocating darkness that threatened to consume me. Through the asylum, past the ghostly music and the whispered pleas, out into the night. The eerie melodies seemed to follow me, their haunting notes weaving through the air like a sinister lullaby. The whispers grew louder, more desperate, as if the very walls were crying out for release. I could feel their pain, their longing, and it spurred me on, pushing me to run faster, to break free from the clutches of this forsaken place. The air was clean and cold, the storm clouds parting to reveal a sliver of moon. I didn't look back. The night sky stretched out before me, a vast expanse of freedom and possibility. The moonlight bathed the landscape in a silvery glow, casting long shadows that danced in the breeze. I could feel the weight of the asylum lifting from my shoulders, the oppressive atmosphere giving way to the crisp, invigorating air of the night. I knew I had to keep moving to put as much distance between myself and that place as possible. But as I reached the gates, I heard a sound. A faint, almost imperceptible noise that sent a shiver down my spine. It was as if the very air around me had come alive, whispering secrets and warnings that I couldn't quite understand. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the gate, unsure if I should proceed or turn back. The darkness seemed to press in on me, the shadows growing thicker and more menacing with each passing second. A sigh, filled with an unbearable sadness. It was a sound that seemed to come from the very depths of the earth, a mournful lament that resonated with a sorrow so profound it was almost tangible. I could feel the weight of that sadness pressing down on me, threatening to crush my spirit. It was a reminder of the countless souls that had been lost within the asylum's walls, their pain and suffering echoing through the ages. And then, I saw her. A figure, barely visible in the dim light, standing just beyond the gates. Her presence was both ethereal and haunting, a ghostly apparition that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. She was a reminder of the past, a lingering echo of the horrors that had taken place within the asylum's walls. I could feel her eyes on me, watching, waiting, as if she held the key to some terrible secret. A young woman in a faded hospital gown, her face pale and drawn. Her eyes were hollow, filled with a sadness that seemed to stretch on for eternity. She looked at me with a mixture of longing and despair, as if she were trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Her presence was a stark reminder of the countless lives that had been lost within the asylum's walls, their stories forgotten and their pain unacknowledged. She stood at the top of the asylum steps watching me. Her gaze was unwavering, her expression one of quiet resignation. It was as if she knew that I was her only hope, her last chance at finding peace. I could feel the weight of her expectations, the burden of her sorrow, and it filled me with a sense of urgency. I had to do something, anything, to help her find the release she so desperately sought. Then just as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. The shadows seemed to swallow her whole, leaving nothing but an empty void in her place. It was as if she had never been there at all, a fleeting memory that vanished as quickly as it had come. I stood there, staring at the spot where she had been, my mind racing with questions and doubts. Had I really seen her, or was it just a figment of my imagination, a trick of the light? The gates clanged shut behind me, sealing me out, or was it sealing something else in? The sound echoed through the night, a final, resounding note that seemed to mark the end of my journey. I could feel the weight of the asylum's secrets pressing down on me, a heavy burden that I would carry with me for the rest of my life. I knew that I had escaped, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been left behind, something that would continue to haunt me. The asylum on Shadow Hill stood silent once more. Its dark, foreboding presence loomed over the landscape, a stark reminder of the horrors that had taken place within its walls. The night was still, the air heavy with the weight of unspoken secrets and forgotten memories. I could feel the eyes of the past watching me, their silent pleas echoing in my mind. I knew that I had to leave, to put as much distance between myself and that place as possible, but I also knew that I would never truly be free. But some secrets, once unearthed, can never be buried again. They linger in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to resurface, to remind us of the past and the horrors that we have tried to forget. The asylum may have been silent, but its secrets were still very much alive, a dark, pulsing presence that would continue to haunt me for the rest of my days. I knew that I had to move on, to find a way to live with the knowledge that I had gained, but I also knew that I would never truly be free from the shadows of Shadow Hill.